You're going to be a father!
That's great! And you, my friend, are royally...
Oh, my head.
Yeah, mine too.
Obviously, we're still here reviewing something, you know, scrolling lights, camera, DVDs, but what were we looking at? We did Shrek 1 and 2, right?
Yeah, we're doing Shrek the Third next. Nero? There's a problem with your hair. No, not your beard hair. No, not that hair. This is a children's show. Your head hair.
My eyebrows?
No, the top of your head.
Top of my...
Yeah. I think we partied too hardy last night while watching Shrek the Third.
Okay, we both know that's simply not true. Cause ain't no one ever party nor hardy to Shrek the Third.
That is fair.
But how's watching Shrek the Third cost me my hair?
I don't know.
Huh.
So the ToonGrin boys are back again. I'm WHYBOY and this is NERO.
Oh, I don't want to be here.
And today we're reviewing nothing. Otherwise known as Shrek the Third for Shrektember.
I don't even want to do the intro for this.
I know.
I know. Don't touch me. Don't move. Don't breathe. Don't do anything except pray maybe as we sit through this review schlock.
Could I spare some change for gas? I need to get myself away from this place.
Shrek the Third is quite the oddity in the Shrek franchise.
If by oddity you mean utterly forgettable, then yes. At least with the first, second, and even to a lesser extent the fourth film, there are many feelings mustered up. But here...
Yeah, it does seem Shrek the Third is met with just forgotten indifference.
And yet it became the fourth highest grossing movie of 2007, just behind Pirates of the Caribbean 3, Harry Potter 5, and Spider-Man 3. It was pretty much a year of washed up sequels by that point, actually. The bar was set pretty low. It was right next to Dinosaur Bones.
Shrek 3, though, had the biggest box office opening for an animated film.
Well, since it was the year of low standards, Shrek was sure to dig deep into a whole lot of holes by having a hilariously strange amount of advertising. You'd see Shrek's face on everything. You got McDonald's, you got Walmart, M&M's, Days Inn, Dodge Caravan, even Go-Gurt, which is just some kind of goo, lying about being yogurt. Ah yes, not since Illumination's magnum opus known as the Lorax have we seen such wobulous selling out. But that's what happens since Shrek has now become the DreamWorks cash cow. It's like the Batman of DreamWorks properties. It's the means of a safe bet to recoup financial costs.
The planning and release of Shrek the Third backs that claim up, as Jeffrey Katzenberg, DreamWorks CEO, is quoted saying,
"The sheer magnitude of the Shrek franchise has led us to conclude that a May release date with a DVD release around the holiday season will enable us to best maximize performance and increase profitability, thereby generating enhanced asset value and better returns for our shareholders."
Then, according to legend, Jeffrey leapt forth into his money bin and proceeded to swim about in all manners of dollars, doubloons, and dineros. It's said that the sight is so majestic, it's like watching whales breach.
And with the massive success of Shrek 2, those stockholders were foaming at the mouth for moolah, as Katzenberg announced plans for not only a third and fourth, but also a fifth Shrek film that will answer all our unanswered questions, with the fifth ending on how Shrek ended up in the swamp. But we already know, don't we? The world hated Shrek because he was an ogre, he scared people away as a defense mechanism, and chose to live in solitude in a swamp. That's it.
Or, you know, he just lived in a swamp because he's an ogre. It's kind of what they do. They wallow in mud, like a pig.
And what other unanswered questions are there? Did we really need to know what happened to Prince Charming, a character that is easily one of the most forgettable parts of Shrek 2?
Did we really need a shoddy remake of It's a Wonderful Life for the 4th film? Or did we even need a 4th film for that matter? And a 5th film that apparently wants to answer the questions no one asked?
And we believe that sums up everything pretty nicely.
More or less.
Thanks for watching!
I'm an ogre named Shrek. I'm singing my song. I live in a swamp. Don't you want an hour and 30-minute long explanation about how I got here?
Yeah, we're so drinking this. What's up, man?
Huh. Well, you want good news or bad news?
We don't got any good news, is it?
No, this video needs to apparently be longer if we want to actually acquire any ad revenue on it.
Ah, I see. This is Shrek the Third!
You know, I find the best way to promote a bad film is with a lie. The best Shrek yet.
Oh yeah, I mean, just like the best cover of generic eyebrow raises and undetermined backdrop. The best part is how overly busy it all is.
We got everyone. Shrek, Quick Chop Fiona, Donkey, Puss, Emergency Food Ration, Eric Idle wanting a paycheck, Baby, Baby Butt, and of course the most important of them all, the miner in a thong Pinocchio.
At least we got Prince Charming wedged into the corner, which is fitting given he feels wedged into the movie. In fact, that's how the movie starts, by showing us that Charming is a loser! A bigly loser!
Yeah, just watch as Shrek's friends at Charming's dinner theater proceed to heckle him like complete jerks.
Birthday to thee, happy birthday to thee!
Do you mind?
Do you mind? Boring!
For crying out loud, Charming's mother died in the last film.
Nero, are you trying to sympathize with the movie's villain now?
No, Charming's a puss. But my complaint comes from the fact that I like the fairy godmother, and in terms of narrative, this doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah.
Just like the writers have amnesia. Did anyone actually forget how influential and powerful the fairy godmother was in the last film?
That's the fairy godmother's courage. She's the largest producer of hexes and potions in the whole kingdom.
So how is Charming slumming it? Charming just could have inherited her wealth, her business, maybe have the fairy godmother have a sister or a brother, someone that comes in to be an aunt or an uncle for Charming. Have the writers actually play with the idea of a twisted parental figure, that way that angle actually flows in with the themes of the movie being parenthood.
That would be more tight-knit with the themes like the second film. Speaking of, at best in Shrek 2, Charming is a henchman to the fairy godmother. He hardly had the presence to warrant lead villain status.
Charming worked well because he was a prima donna, a mama's boy, who had a powerful mommy do everything for him, even comb his hair.
And since this movie seems to be self-aware of Charming's villain worthlessness, we are hit with a glorious cameo bomb with all the other villains like Red Riding Hood, the Headless Horseman, Nondescript Cyclops, Nondescript Pirates, Can Hook, Magnifuku, the Puppet Master, the Wicked Witch. Oh, wait, I did my research, Prince Charming. That's the Evil Queen.
Wicked Witch, the Seven Dwarfs, saved Snow White, and then what happened?
Oh, what's it to you?
You weenie. Mabel, the ugly stepsister. Rumpelstiltskin, before he became a troll. No, not that one. The tree's from, I guess, Wizard of Oz, generic Black Knights, or maybe it's a tie into Dark Souls.
Praise the Shrek!
So the film can't decide on one villain, and instead just grabs a bushel of them and hopes for the best.
Yep, well why are they coming together, you may ask? Well, Charming has come to band the villains together to take over far, far away to get revenge on Shrek, and these idiots were easy to convince because they had sob stories like, didn't get a chance to kill a girl prettier than her, didn't get to enslave a sexy wooden boy, didn't get to keep a baby. Seriously, their motivation is they didn't get their happy ending, which would be fine if it were more for laughs, but the movie plays this straight as it has it as the moral for the ending. But what are our heroes doing as the villains mount their offense?
Ah, I hate being rich. Being a 1%er is hard. Oh no, someone must wipe my bum for me. Get the $100 bills, they're softer.
So yeah, Shrek and Fiona are still in Far, Far Away, along with Donkey, Puss, and Dragon.
Not sure why the Shrek clan would still be at the castle at this point, since if anyone was paying attention, the premise of the second film is Shrek was forced by his wife to get the parents' blessing, and seemingly he got it, but here we are. Now Shrek is being groomed to rule over the kingdom of Far, Far Away. Why can't Fiona rule exactly?
Well, Nero, there's a lesson to be learned here, just from the Shrek 2. The writers have no idea what to do with Fiona.
Truth.
We cut through a series of gags that only exist to illustrate Shrek as bad as the royal lifestyle, Dirt-Badoo. He hardly injures a man while knighting him, throws the bottle so hard at a ship christening that it lights the boat on fire and sinks it, and even gets dressed in ridiculous attire.
By this point, DreamWorks has decided to give up all manner of actually caring for making movies, and have decided that this is just colorful noise made for babies, and they really just jangle the keys and turn up the noise, with outfits ripping up and pratfalls galore.
Because loud noises and flashy imagery is all we need to keep the kids distracted.
And Shrek being afraid of fatherly commitment.
What if, theoretically,
Yeah?
they were little ogre feet?
Oh!
Shrek, don't you ever think about having a family?
Right now, you're my family.
Good moment.
Yeah, a lot of good emotion there. Sure would be a shame if a gag were to come around right now and ruin the sincerity of it.
Well, somebody better be dying.
I'm dying.
There it is. Because this movie's unbearably tone deaf.
Harold?
Don't forget to pay the gardener, Lillian.
Good, good. Those are gonna be the last words to your wife before you die.
There is a matter of business to attend to.
Yes, very uncomfortable. Fiona, who was once isolated from her father for years at a time, now gets to slowly watch her own father die. And instead of making this a heartfelt and strong moment between father and daughter, the film treats it like a joke. Alas, King Harold, your once well-written character is now dead.
You're dead. You are dead. Bop boop beep bop bop boop bop. You're dead.
Well, now that John Cleese cashed a check and Foot Locker got plugged, thus DreamWorks was able to cash a check themselves, we can move on to the fact that Shrek is saddled with being the king. No idea why Queen Lillian can't still rule, or Fiona for that matter, but here we are.
Well, fortunately, Shrek has a way out of any commitment, which we'll have to deal with more in the fourth film, but moving along. As the hilarious death of his father-in-law tells him there is another heir to the kingdom of Far, Far Away, so that leads Shrek on a trip.
Hey man, it's not a trip. It's a quest.
You think I'm going to care about proper vernacular on Captain Seth Rogen's first voyage? No, seriously, this is actually Seth Rogen's first voice performance.
Hello.
This whole movie is just hiring big celebrities for these bit parts. Why are we wasting money on the safe bet movie?
Well, forget that as Shrek heads out on his quest to find the next heir to Far, Far Away. Fiona has to say her farewells.
Shrek? Maybe you should just stay and be king.
Fiona, I've noticed that since we hooked up, you've aggressively been trying to change me. First, you accepted me for who I was and everything was hunky-dory. But then your parents found us in a swamp in a different kingdom. Then you nagged me to get their blessing, and your dad put a hitman on me, who I luckily befriended.
Meow.
Then I got their blessing, and now you want me to uproot my entire lifestyle, even though you're the royal and your mother is still alive and able to rule.
Honor, I accept you. And your supple, grand bum-bum.
I want a divorce.
Ah. And Fiona tells Shrek some even better news. She's pregnant. Look at the happiness on his face.
What was that?
Haven't seen a dad this deadbeat since Donkey, and he leaves his kids and wife constantly. You know, we could have had something good here where Shrek is afraid of being a father because he feels incapable. But the movie frames it up as because he's an ogre, he'll be a bad father.
It's not my life I'm worried about ruining. It's the kids. I mean, when have you ever heard the phrase, as sweet as an ogre, or as nurturing as an ogre, or how about, you're gonna love my dad. He's a real ogre.
Now the problem here is that if you remember the first movie, and we will refresh...
You know, Donkey, sometimes things are more than they appear.
Yeah, the ferocity and mean attitude Shrek exhibits was a farce. He wasn't bad because he was an ogre. He played it up so people would leave him alone.
Or did we forget this scene?
People take one look at me and go, ah, help, run! A big, stupid, ugly ogre. They judge me before they even know me. That's why I'm better off alone.
Good job, writers, in understanding how your characters are supposed to be from film to film.
But pushing past that, Shrek, Puss, and Donkey make it to high school. No, seriously, to pick up the heir to Far, Far Away.
Strong, handsome, face of a leader. Does Arthur look like a king or what?
Obvious punchline is obvious.
Now, where can I find Arthur Pendragon?
There we go. Here's King Arthur, played by Justin Timberlake. Now, the best way to describe his character is... voila! This utterly toothless bland Arthur.
Back in Far, Far Away, Fiona, her mom, her princess friends, plus Doris. I love you, Doris. You're the only redeeming character in this whole movie, because you're at least funny. Are having a baby shower for Fiona. Charming and the villains come a-knockin' and take it over with incredible ease. Like, real incredible ease. And then capture Fiona and Shrek's friends. Now we gotta remember, this weenie is supposed to be the mastermind of all this.
That's so very sad.
With the takeover Far, Far Away complete, Charming sets his sights on revenge and orders the villains to go and take out Shrek. Which reminds me, back with the failed attempt at father-son relationships, let's see how Shrek and Arthur are doing with some poorly written conflict.
Really isn't up to you, but I don't know anything about being king. You'll learn on the job.
Okay, I'm calling bunk on this. Shrek is a brute of an ogre. He's pretty strong. And he's being outmuscled by a kid who these comically stereotypical movie nerds were beating up on? Wow, what a way to force humor. So now in another country, I guess? I mean, they sailed away from the school, so we know they're away from there, but we land in an area filled with trees like every place in these movies, so it's really hard to actually tell when we change landscapes. So honestly, who could tell where we are half the time? Now Shrek and Arthur, through the mother of all coincidences, crashing in a completely different location than where the school was, has somehow stumbled across Arthur's old magic teacher Merlin. Now the Disney version is quirky, a bit short-tempered, grumpy old man, but he has an air of wisdom and humor to him. Here we have Eric Idle's Merlin, who is a man who had a nervous breakdown through crippling years of abuse while working at school. That's the joke.
Technically, I was merely a victim of a level 3 fatigue, and at the request of my therapist and the school authorities, I've retired to the tranquility of nature to discover my divine purpose.
Now, through more coincidences, Merlin says he can help the four get closer to Far, Far Away, but says he'll only do it if everyone takes part in a ritual to reveal their inner demons in turmoil. So you know with Shrek, it's the inner turmoil of being a deadbeat dad. But Arthur sees visions of his own father abandoning him, leaving him all alone at the school with no one to care for him.
So what happened to his mom?
If we follow Disney rules, probably dead.
So finally, after so much noise and manufactured conflict, 47 minutes into the movie, we can have a scene where Shrek will play surrogate father to Arthur and get some genuine character emotion and connection.
Look, Artie,
Just thought I might help set the mood, for your big heart-to-heart chat.
This movie's capacity for being utterly tone-deaf truly is the stuff of legend.
This should be the crux of the film, Shrek learning to prove himself that he can be a father. The rest of the film, the fourth girl power nonsense, the villain takeover, that's fluff to pad everything out. What really drives the nail into the coffin is Shrek the Third is soulless, and attempts to have these moments of heart, but then quickly turns around and makes it a gag. Imagine if in Shrek 1 you took the scene where Donkey talks to Shrek all wholesome like, and you made it like this.
You know what? When we met, I didn't think you was just a big, stupid, ugly ogre.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, look at all that heart, folks.
It's seamless. So when the movie comes in forcing their ideas of fatherhood or choice, it comes off artificial and fake. How can we as an audience care about their connection when Shrek from beginning to end fights against change and Arthur is little more than a plot device?
What if they had a scene of Donkey and Puss changing bodies using Merlin's magic?
What the? Oh no! I've been abracadabraed into a fancy feasting second-rate sidekick!
Oh, at least you don't look like some kind of bloated roadside piñata.
That sounds like padding out for the other characters, and doesn't really actually play with the dynamic of Shrek and Arthur.
Right. What if
they had a scene with Fiona, her mom, and princess friends all becoming action-packed girl power stereotypes to break out of prison?
Okay, girls, from here on out, we're gonna take care of business ourselves.
That still feels like pandering. And even worse, you're faking writing strong women, and on top of that, it still really doesn't do anything with the connection of Shrek and Arthur.
Oh, I get you now. I get you. Then what if
they have a scene where Shrek and Arthur are captured by Charming, and to free Arthur, Shrek says some very hurtful and mean things to make him run off.
But you said the king asked for me personally.
Not exactly.
What's that supposed to mean?
I wasn't right for the job, I just needed some fool to replace me, and you fit the bill.
that make for a stronger connection?
No! No, it would not! As a matter of fact, all he did was point out all the weakness of this movie in a long, stretched-out joke.
This boy is supposed to be the new king of far, far away. How pathetic.
This is, again, emotional pandering and artificial because unlike the misunderstanding in Shrek 1, where it's brought about by just contrived coincidental wrong time and place, this misunderstanding is made under the threat of death. And Arthur is just too dumb to notice that Shrek is lying and saying these things so he doesn't get his bland little head chopped off.
Man, you really don't get it. Shrek only said those things to protect you.
Charming was going to kill you, Artie. Shrek saved your life.
What a whiny boy.
If this was a well-written film, Shrek and Arthur would have a great connection, so Arthur would be able to take the hint of what Shrek is doing, agree to go with it, and then come back and actually free other people and rise up, sort of building the idea of him becoming like a strong king and leader. That would have been something.
Now is Shrek captured by Charming, who, in traditional stupid villain fashion, decides to make his execution a big spectacle performance.
You know, it's funny. Not funny, haha, but it's clear that this is meant to invoke how the fairy godmother did things in the second film. She had a great musical number, there was a swell of action. And yet here, there is no swell of action. There's no epic moment of accompanying music. Charming is simply unengaging as a character. He doesn't have any of the screen presence. We've seen that he's undermined by the actual villains early on, thus giving him no, credit. And on top of that, we have all these iconic fairy tale characters, all these storybook villains, and it's a waste. They do nothing during any of this. They're all relegated to just henchman territory. If they were gonna underuse the villains this much, then don't have them. He just needs minions to have, and that's it. Have him find like a spell book in his mom's castle or something, and then have him summon minions, a la Jackie Chan Adventures with the Shadowcon or something, and there you go, you'd get the same result.
So Puss and Donkey catch up with Arthur, tell him to suck it up, and he does, and everyone arrives at the finale for Arthur to tell all the villains the moral of the story.
A good friend of mine once told me that just because people treat you like a villain, or an ogre, or just some loser, it doesn't mean you are one.
What a truly desperate attempt to wrap everything up.
And it totally works.
I've always wanted to play the flute.
You could have become a flutist before you lost your head. Actually, seeing that we could see that you belch and drink and talk through your neck hole, you could probably still play the flute if you just cram it down in there.
I'd like to open up a spa in France.
What does that have to do with killing Snow White? Was she opening a rival spa?
I grow daffodils. And they're beautiful.
If all you want to do is grow flowers, why are you a pirate? And what does that at all have to do with wanting to kill some kind of fairy boy?
I think this movie's trying to cake on depth.
What, here? Now? With all these characters?
Look, man, I don't know, I guess. I mean...
Look at how they gave up all their evil ways after one speech.
This is like the polar opposite of Shrek 2. In that film, you had an epic climax with kaiju cookies and all of Shrek's friends coming to his aid to save the day against a villain that had presentation and charm. Here, one weenie gives a half-hearted speech, and everyone turns into a weenie and just goes with it.
The end. Oh, and Shrek has kids, but don't worry, Shrek will be sick of them before the 4th film even starts.
Yeah, Shrek the Third is boring. Do we really need to say anything more than that? Nero?
No, it sucks. It's terrible. Don't watch it. Eat a cookie.
Yeah.
And that was our take on Shrek the Third. Let us know what you thought of it, or if you already forgot it exists.
And be sure to keep up to date and support future ToonGrin projects by subscribing and hitting the notification bell. Follow us on social media, Patreon, and our official site, ToonGrin.com.
So until next time, be sure to tune in
to ToonGrin.